What is up, guys? Kyle here, back on the podcast channel once again, and today we're back for another part of why modern WWE sucks. So, the last video had a great response to it. I could tell there's a lot of WWE fans out there that are fired up about just how bad this new product is, and I think in this video we're going to be covering the booking, which I would say arguably is the biggest reason why modern WWE sucks. So let's hop into it. So we just had the second Saturday night's main event very recently. Literally, it was like a few days ago at this point, right? So the one thing that I noticed about that show was that the booking was very safe. I don't know how to say this, but when I'm watching wrestling, I want something to be unexpected, and I'll tell you guys the results of Saturday night's main event. So, the first match was Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax, and knowing that Rhea Ripley just recently got the title back, and she's a huge draw for the company, I was like, there's no way they're going to make her drop the belt already to Nia Jax, which, that's another thing. Why is Nia Jax feuding with Rhea Ripley? Didn't she just lose the belt to Tiffany Stratton? Why didn't she want that belt back? Now, I know, on this week's edition of SmackDown, I think she tried to take a hint at, okay, I want that belt back. But it's like, if that's the case, then why don't you set up a match with Tiffany Stratton to get that belt back at Saturday night's main event? What? I don't understand. Look, I'm just a fan. I don't know how I'm better at booking the Triple H's, but that should have been what you did. And whether you gave Nia Jax the belt back, I don't know. I'm not the one booking. I'm not the one making the decisions. I mean, it would have probably been a better decision and would have made more sense to have Nia Jax go after the belt that she previously had. And that, I think, this is going to start to be a theme here where, the feuds and all this stuff, it starts to make no sense and all this stuff starts to happen. So let's get to the next match before I lose my shit more. So the next match we had was Braun Breaker versus Sheamus for the Intercontinental Championship. And Braun Breaker, this was a guy that I was really noting in the previous edition of this series that I did, because he's been on, because he's been on no TV for the past 5 weeks. He's sitting in the fucking crowd doing nothing. It's like, you're the Intercontinental Champion. You can't even show up you're a mid-card champion. You can't even show up on the show? Give me a break, dude. Oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. Yeah, I really couldn't hold back there. I mean, I'm really like, this stuff, you really can't let it build up in your mind too long. So I think, in a way, doing these videos is kind of therapeutic. Shout out to anybody who suggested that I, vent out my anger using videos, because I think this is certainly working. So, this match, I was, bookmarking, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be a good match, because, Sheamus is known to put on banger after banger after banger, right? He can put on a good match. I'm not worried about that. Same with Braun Breaker, too. I know these two can really go in the ring. So, another thing happened in this match that was really questionable. It's like, Sheamus has been in the WWE, I think, at this point for almost 20 years, right? How comes he doesn't have the inhibition to bring Braun Breaker, right? Because he just hit Braun Breaker with a bro kick, on this run where he tries to pin him, right? Why doesn't he have the inhibition to bring him to the middle of the ring where there's not an incident to where, Braun Breaker can just put his foot up on the rope? But, of course, that's what happened, and Braun Breaker ultimately ended up winning that match. Once again, no surprise there. Then the next match was Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu. This was one that was kind of floated around as this could be a new rivalry, and more examples of weird booking, I know. So the thing that happened in this match was Jacob Fatu just completely went off. He kept hitting him. You know the move where, I can't think of the name of it. You know the move where, he'll be in the corner, Jacob Fatu will keep running into his head. It's something to do with the head, but, it got to the point where he did, 8 or 9 of them, and, Braun Strowman was just out by then. Michael Cole said that, his jaw had been broken or even though it looks nothing like it. Great selling there, Michael. Shout out to you, of course. And speaking of selling, I think that's another thing that I was really puzzled by in this. So, when the security guards and all of them, even Tamataga, they all came into the ring, right, and tried to stop Jacob Fatu. It's like, dude, you can chill out. It's like, you don't have to fucking, kill Braun Strowman in the ring over here. You know what I mean? So, they all try and, get him into the, they all try and, get him out of there or whatever. But it's like, they know, to a certain extent that, they have to, let it go on. And this is another thing. I'm so frustrated with these brawls, too. It's like, remember back in the day when John Cena and Brock Lesnar would clear out the locker room? You actually thought, those two had heat with each other. But, in this case here, they're trying to stop Jacob Fatu from, hitting another moonsault on Braun Strowman. They have to, get out of the way so that, they don't get hit by it. It's just the worst selling of it. They're trying to stop Jacob Fatu from, getting back in the ring with Braun Strowman, but their attempts at trying to stop him are just so fake. It's like they just have to. That was a little thing that really frustrated me about that whole thing. Now that match in and of itself I think it was a good match. It could have probably went on a little bit longer than it did, but yeah, just that one moment where they were trying to stop him from going crazy, I think was just really bad selling. And then you had the I'm forgetting now the order that they did the PLE in because it was so fucking boring, right? So, what the next thing they did is they had a contract signing, right? This is another thing that's bad about booking, right? Why are we having a contract signing at a pay-per-view PLE? This is people that are, I guess, yeah, you could say these are people that are willing to pay money, and we give them a fucking contract signing. Yes, folks, this is WWE in 2025. We're going to give the people that wanted to watch Saturday night's main event a contract signing. Get out of here, bro. What is this crap? So, obviously, Shawn Michaels, he was the one that was, moderating this contract signing. What? Moderating a contract signing? I'm so pissed right now. Oh my, I can't even believe this. I can't even believe this PLE existed. It's almost astonishing to me how bad this is. So Shawn Michaels is moderating the shit fest that is this contract signing. So Kevin Owens comes out, which I gotta give a shout out to Kevin Owens. I've been kind of negative on WWE as of late, but this guy has been straight bars into the microphone as of late. And in this segment, he didn't let up either. This is a time where, I think I should really, peel the skin back a little bit and, reveal to you guys it's like, hey, maybe I actually do want the WWE to be successful. Instead of just making rage bait videos about how bad the WWE is right now, I actually want it to change. So then Cody Rhodes comes out. The notable part that happened here was Shawn Michaels asks them both to take a seat. They both don't do it. Obviously, I think I expected this to happen. They're not going to be too friendly with each other. So they both signed the contract to fight each other at the Royal Rumble for So they signed the contract to fight at the Royal Rumble in a ladder match, and whoever goes up to the top of that ladder will get both the Winged Eagle belt that Kevin Owens is parading around and the WWE Championship, which I might go out on a limb and say that Cody Rhodes is parading around too. Now, after the contract signing has happened, take a guess what happens next. Does Kevin Owens take a cheap shot on either Shawn Michaels or Cody Rhodes? If you said that, you'd be correct. And for bonus points, does Kevin Owens try and get Shawn Michaels into a pile driver? If you said that happened, you'd be correct. So you get all the points now, right? See what I mean now with this? This is going to start to become a theme with this. This product that WWE is putting out is so predictable, and long-term booking, this is a magic word that Triple H loves to use. He's like, the stories, in the short term it doesn't work, so we're going for the long term. That's what has been really happening in WWE ever since he's really been in control of creative. And the next match, this is going to be something that I wish would have happened during this match. So Gunther comes out, basically gets no pop, which is another thing that's really, I highlighted in my previous video. It's like, you're the champion, you're the World Heavyweight Champion, and nobody even cares that you're even there. You're non-existent. And if you're champion, you need something. Like, the fans either need to really like you, or they need to really hate you. The whole point is that you get a reaction out of them. Now, say what you want about Roman Reigns' run in the 2010s when, they, pushed him so hard on us. At least he got a reaction out of people. Like, yeah, I didn't really like his run back then, but at least I still reacted, and I was like, oh, I hate this, his reign sucks, or, oh, he ain't doing good, or whatever. But with Gunther, there's nothing. Nobody reacts. Nobody's like, boo, or, yay, none of that stuff happens for Gunther. So that's just another part of the booking that is just terrible. And then we get into this match. Jey Uso comes out. Another thing with him is that these entrances take way too long. It's like they have to fill up runtime with his entrance. It's like they're just burning minutes at this point with this entrance. It's just driving me crazy. I love to eat as much as the next guy does, but they need to just condense it in some form. Like, time is money, you know what I mean? Like, every minute you can have in a PLE or in a show is valuable, and wasting it with a entrance is just ridiculous. If you're The Undertaker, I get it, there's not much to argue against his entrance. I mean, it's just, you have to it's an absolute spectacle, so he can have all the time he wants for that. But Jey Uso's, he just comes down and is like, yee, yee. Like, he ain't doing that much. Like, I mean, John Cena could do the same thing. Like, any face would have this sort of entrance. Nothing's unique about it. So, don't make it that long. Anyways, I'm already, fired up. I guess fired up is... Instead of, if I'm in real life right now and I'm just saying, somebody oh, how are you doing or whatever, I'm just going to be I'm fired up. That's my translation to people of saying that I'm mad or, I'm pissed. Because, I'm pissed at how bad WWE is. So, this match goes on, whatever, I would say this is probably the most boring match of the night, although the previous match, Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu, is a close runner-up to that. The reason why this match is boring is that, like most heels, Gunther doesn't really have that much of a moveset, and it's kind of, just the way it is. Most heels, they get by with cheating, and, they win the match by interference from outside forces and all this other stuff. Like, there's just something to Gunther's character that is just not there at all, and I'm like, how is this dude still the champion, I mean, because Gunther ultimately ended up winning the match, and if I was booking this would have been the time to put the belt on Jey Uso. I mean, he, quite frankly, is one of the biggest faces. He's really over with the crowd, probably one of the biggest guys that's over with the crowd right now, but yet they don't even give him the belt. I mean, what are we doing here? Why are we having the belt on somebody like Gunther, who does nothing? He doesn't move the story forward. He has no feud either. We'll have to get into that too. Which maybe I might not have to get into it, because I can talk about it in this video, because this is booking. This is why booking is terrible right now. Everything that happened on this show is a perfect example of why modern WWE sucks, and specifically the booking sucks. Now, I don't know what Triple H's obsession is. He really books everything pretty safe. One thing I forgot to mention when I was talking about the first episode of Raw on Netflix, the premiere episode of it, you know what I mean? The thing I forgot to mention was that it was booked very safe. I shouldn't be able, right, if I'm watching wrestling, I don't want to be able to know what's going to happen. I don't want to get a prediction right. Now, in other things, if I was obviously betting on WWE, I'd be making a killing right now. I could predict all of these matches. I could predict, every show, how it's going to turn out and all that stuff. And that's bad. You want something that you don't know. You want spontaneity. Yeah, is that a word? Spontaneity? Yeah. And, look, say what you want about Vince, whatever, behind the scenes, I don't condone what he did, obviously. But I think the wrestling community, in the fan base, the diehards, neckbeards, everybody has, I think, had a very narrow mindset on how good Vince's booking was. they take what he did in the past 5 years and was like, oh, that was shit, whatever. Well, okay, I agree, it was shit, but at least you didn't. But at least it wasn't predictable. Like, at least he was trying. Whereas now Triple H is like, oh, let me put the belt on Gunther. Oh, Gunther's gonna win this one, or we're gonna put the belt on Braun Breaker. Like, every single title reign is gonna last for a long time, and the feuds that they're gonna have in those reigns are not gonna mean anything. You're only gonna get like one or two good moments out of them, and that's how it is. And another thing to add to Vince's, case for why he was a good booker, besides the last 5 years of his, time in WWE, the other 30 were great. You know what I mean? Like, he knew what to do in all these cases. Like, Triple H is so fixed on having, these long-term champions where, there were times where it would be like, okay, Big Show wins it, and then, he loses it to CM Punk, and then Cena loses, and then CM Punk loses it to Cena, and then Orton takes it. You could play hot potato with the most valuable championship in the company, and it'd still be valuable. That's what Vince could do. And Vince was very spontaneous too. Like, never knew what was going to happen. That's what made the product interesting. That's what made people want to come back. They'd be like, oh, another thing with this. So, it just reminded me of something that happened during this PLE. So, Charlotte Flair has been out for about a year at this point, right? She got injured, whatever, you know what I mean? So, to hype her coming back, like, take a guess what happens. Does Triple H decide, okay, we need to make an ad that she's going to come back? If you guessed that, you'd be correct, because that's what he did. And then that's another red flag that was really going off in my mind. I'm like, wait a minute. Isn't the point of the Royal Rumble is to watch and see who's going to come back and then be like, oh my gosh, dude, remember when John Cena in 2008 was the last entrant in the Royal Rumble, right? We didn't know when he was going to come back. But now you got these cases where it's like Charlotte Flair will come on there and say, I'm going to be returning to the Royal Rumble, or I'm going to be returning during the Royal Rumble, right? Losing the aura that, oh, well, maybe she'll come back at the Royal Rumble, There's no talks of that anymore. And also, I hate these stupid segments where these wrestlers will come out and be like, I'm entering the Royal Rumble. Of course you are, dude. This is the Royal Rumble. You don't need to tell people you're going to be in the Royal Rumble. We'd expect it already. And another thing about Charlotte Flair's video package that was on SmackDown this week that sets off another red flag in my mind was that why do they need to tell us that she's going to be at the Royal Rumble? Now, obviously, I get, why they did it. It's an ad, obviously. So it's like, it's telling you that, oh, the Royal Rumble is going to be next week, or, she's going to be at the Royal Rumble. So watch it, right? Why would they need to tell us that, though? You know what I mean? Like, does the creative team think that we're stupid? Do they think that, like, okay, I'm just thinking of this now. Do they think that we're like, okay, well, we have to tell them, Charlotte Flair's going to come back at the Royal Rumble, so they'll watch it, right? Is that the reason why? Because I think it is. And it's so contrary, because, you'll have Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes and all these wrestlers, they'll come out and be like, this is the best era of WWE. The roster has never been better than this. Cody Rhodes would be like, I'm the North Star of the wrestling industry. I'm the best there is, and the best there was, the best there will be. Oh no, he's Bret Hart now. Oh geez, I don't know if that would go too over well with the Canadian fans, but that reminds me of something. Do you think in the Attitude Era they were like, was The Rock ever coming out there and be like, this is the best the wrestling industry has ever been? Or do you ever think that Stone Cold would ever come out and be like, this is the best roster WWE has ever had? John Cena in the Ruthless Aggression era. Do you think he ever was like, this is the best the product's ever been? The ratings are just going through the roof. Like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Like, right? Do you think they ever said anything like that in those eras? You want to know why they didn't? Because they didn't have to. There was we'll get into promos certainly in the next part, I think. I'll do it then. But do you think they ever had to tell you that this was the best era of WWE? When you tell me something's great, to a certain extent I'll believe you. Like, if someone says, like, how are they doing, like, good or whatever, it's like, there's a part of me that's like, I don't believe it, but at the same time I do believe it. However, in a case like this, when you tell me that something's good, I don't believe it. So yeah, that's going to do it for this video, guys. I know this one was a little bit longer, but hopefully you got to this section here. I think this Saturday night's main event that happened recently was a perfect amalgamation of why modern WWE sucks. And a good example of why the booking sucks too, certainly. And with all that being said, guys, remember, we the ones.